And welcome to the Richard Syrett Show. In case you missed yesterday's show, Tamara Ugolini from Rebel News, senior editor with Rebel News, was on the program talking about the Alberta government's newly, albeit quietly, released COVID-19 response review, which was nothing short of explosive, is nothing short of explosive. It is a bold document, to say the least, packed with recommendations that really challenge the orthodoxy of the past 3 years. Chief among them, a call for an immediate halt to the use of the novel modified RNA, mRNA COVID-19 vaccines for healthy children and teenagers. This isn't just a medical policy shift, it's a vindication, a long overdue acknowledgement of the voices that dared to question the tyrannical overreach of governments during the so-called pandemic. And what better moment to reflect on this seismic revelation than the 3rd anniversary of the Truckers' Freedom Convoy? That historic movement began assembling in the heart of Western Canada just 3 years ago, a region that's now once again leading the charge against unscientific and undemocratic policies. Think about it. 3 years ago, brave Canadians in their rigs took to the highways, their horns a deafening rebuke to the political elites and their draconian mandates. They were smeared, silenced, and vilified. And now here we are with a government report commissioned by Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, prioritizing dissenting voices. And this report effectively echoes their concerns, their being the truckers' concern. This report effectively echoes the truckers' concerns. And the review, led by Dr. Gary Davidson and supported by experts like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and Dr. Byram Bridle, lays bare the failures of the pandemic response, from the rushed approval of modified mRNA vaccines to the catastrophic non-pharmaceutical interventions like lockdowns and mask mandates. And among the most striking findings of the report is its scathing critique of Health Canada's decision-making process surrounding the novel modified mRNA vaccines. The task force highlights, quote-unquote, significant gaps in the data used to justify the approval of these vaccines, particularly for children and teenagers. In plain terms, Health Canada failed to disclose whether a proper risk assessment was ever conducted to warrant the widespread use of these experimental jabs in those under 18. For healthy children, whose risk of severe COVID-19 outcomes is negligible, this lack of transparency was nothing short of alarming. And the findings only get more damning. The report exposes post-authorization data from Pfizer's own trials, revealing 1,223 deaths and over 42,000 adverse events within just 4 days of vaccination during their trials. Nearly half of these injuries were suffered by individuals aged 18 to 50, a group at minimal risk of serious illness from COVID-19. This, of course, raises a disturbing question. How could such a safety profile ever justify mass vaccination campaigns targeting healthy populations? Add to this the well-documented risks of myocarditis and pericarditis, particularly in young men, and the picture becomes crystal clear. The so-called experts were playing Russian roulette with the health of Canadians. And the report also delves into the troubling toxicity profile of lipid nanoparticles, the delivery mechanism for these modified mRNA vaccines. These synthetic fat molecules are known to accumulate in various organs, including the heart and liver. The long-term impacts, still a mystery, because, get this, no one bothered to properly study them before rolling out millions of doses. And then there's the staggering data on pregnant women. In one limited trial, the fetal or neonatal mortality rate was an appalling 87.5%. Let me repeat that. In one limited trial, the fetal or neonatal mortality rate was an appalling 87.5%. If this doesn't shake you to your core, I don't know what will. Let's not forget the broader context of this review. It doesn't just shine a light on the vaccines. It exposes the entire pandemic response as a colossal failure. The lockdowns, the mask mandates, the curfews, all of it. These policies were imposed without a shred of reliable evidence to support their effectiveness. And worse, they caused irreparable harm. Businesses shuttered. Mental health crisis exploded. Children's education disrupted. All for what? To follow the dictates of unelected health bureaucrats who seemed more concerned with optics than outcomes. And who were the ones raising the alarm from the very beginning? Not the corporate media, that's for sure. Ordinary Canadians, that's who. Truckers, small business owners, parents who refused to bow to the madness. The Truckers' Freedom Convoy was their rallying cry. A defiant stand against erosion of liberty. These men and women were vilified as extremists, but today their cause stands vindicated. This report is their victory. Now it's up to Premier Danielle Smith to take this report's recommendations and run with them. I think she already showed some courage by commissioning this review in the first place. But courage in politics is a marathon, not a sprint. Alberta must lead the way by immediately halting the use of the mRNA vaccine for healthy children and teenagers. And beyond that, the province must demand greater transparency and accountability from Health Canada and other regulatory bodies. And why stop there? Alberta can set a precedent by rethinking its entire approach to public health, prioritizing evidence-based policies and individual freedoms over authoritarian mandates. Other provinces should take note. The Alberta report is a wake-up call for all of Canada. It's a chance to turn the page on the dark chapter and ensure these mistakes are never repeated. Premiers across the country, yes, even Doug Ford in Ontario, need to step up. Follow Alberta's lead. Conduct your own reviews. Examine your own failures. How about that? Examine your own failures. Own up to your own failures. And most importantly, listen to the people who elected you. 3 years ago, the Truckers' Freedom Convoy reminded us what it means to stand up for liberty. Today, Alberta's COVID-19 response review gives us the tools to make sure those sacrifices weren't in vain. It's time to act. Let's honor the courage of those who spoke out by ensuring their voices lead to real, lasting change. Hey, this is Richard Syrett. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe.